Alright, let's go and let's watch the Inside Star Citizen video.
Engineering, the next major step forward in multi-crew gameplay. Built on top of the in-development resource networking system, itself a harbinger of fire and a new reality for all life aboard spacecraft. It's been the subject of CitizenCon presentations, Q&As on Star Citizen Live, explorations on Inside Star Citizen, and fervent discussion by many of the content creators in our community.
That's us! That's us! I'm really excited for engineering, especially for bigger ships like the Polaris. Like I can't wait.
And on this final episode of ISC before hiatus and we turn all of our attentions towards CitizenCon, we invited Torsten, Bastian, and Guillermo to update us once again on the current intention and implementation of engineering, and what you can expect when the first iteration makes its way into the persistent universe.
The resource network enables us to actually give you the gameplay that you were always looking for, which is having meaningful multi-crew gameplay, which
yes, we need that. We need meaningful multi-crew gameplay. The main issue is that every ship can be soloed, and usually it is even better to fly a ship solo instead of multi-crewing it. Like they were already doing a good job with the whole like the mole by making rocks bigger and more resistant so that you couldn't mine them all with a prospect all the time, which I think was a really good change. I really liked that because it gave the mole a purpose again to be used with more than one person and actually multi-crew the ship. So that was a really good first step, and I cannot wait. I really can't wait for what engineering is going to bring.
Which means that it really makes sense to have multiple people running around on your ship, and that wouldn't be possible without the resource network.
Ooh, that looks cool. What ship is this? Is this the Carrack? I think this is the Carrack. I think this is the engineering room from the Carrack. I think it is the Carrack.
So I would say the resource network is a system that allows all the items and components that are part of the ship to talk to each other.
Every ground vehicle, every base, everything that runs in Star Citizen with resources.
This is interesting because we've been doing a the jump down event with the ballistas and Centurions, and the components on the ballista weren't physicalized yet. Like we had the idea to load another ballista into the C2, take off its missiles, and then use those missiles as a backup, as like backup ammunition for the other ballista. So if it's out of ammo, we can reload. We can reload that ballista with the missiles from the other ballista. Sadly, they don't work. You cannot rearm a ballista.
Fundamentally, resource network is a replacement for the pipe system we had in the past that you may have heard about.
Which was a similar system, basically doing most of what we are doing right now with the resource network, but in a way that was not as scalable as what we intend to do.
Landing complete.
So right now we just have one type of hydrogen fuel, but if we want to extend that in the future to having like multiple types that have some specific benefits on the thrusters, it's very easy now to add that resource. It's just a data setup.
That's really good. I've been wanting more than one type of fuel instead of just using hydrogen fuel for space flight or like normal traversal, I would say. Add like different qualities of hydrogen fuel, you know, like make fuel that is more efficient but really expensive, but you can use it a lot longer. And with more expensive, I mean like really more expensive, and maybe even make it that players can only craft it and not just, you know, you go up to a station or to an NPC and they sell it to you. No. Make it like player crafted, like from a Quantanium mining order from a mining facility. That it's like a special types of, or well, not Quantanium, but like a special type of fuel that you can only get by other players refueling you with like a Starfarer. That'd be amazing. And then have like stations only provide like, especially in Pyro, I would say that stations should provide like low quality fuel that you burn through rather quickly, I would say. That is a good one. And then in Stanton you can get And the normal fuel, you know, what you're used to, the normal quality fuel. But yeah, I would say like having another type of hydrogen fuel with like higher quality that's player made, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool.
So Resource Network is the underlying technology for the system to work, and engineering is the gameplay we intend to have on top of this technology so that players may experience it.
Your ship flies because, you know, the thrusters get fuel, the power plants output power that the weapons and the sails and also the thrusters use. Engineering is all about both maximizing the use you get out of the resource network.
Nice.
And also getting the resource network itself going so that you're not dead in the water.
It's all things that players will be able to interact with. They will have to dedicate roles in their ships so that crew members are assigned to fixing those issues.
That's
and
cool.
they can encounter
That's
more
what I
dynamic
want.
situations that will not happen in the previous systems.
That's exactly what I want. That's so cool.
The goal right now is to have all the components on the ship being physicalized. That means that the things that will take damage will be the components. That then means that those components are reasons to the failure of your ship.
We have the power plants, which generate the energy that your ship consumes. You have the shield generators, which take in some of that energy to convert it to shield power. You have a radar system that allows you to target the signatures of ships around you. You have coolers that generate a coolant resource.
Makes sense for a cooler, of course.
It is all the weapons that you have, it's the quantum drive, but there are also new components that will be added to the mix, and that is the relay with its fuses. Then there's the life support generator.
That's gonna be big. That's gonna be big. Like, and these need to be placed in strategic positions inside ships. If they're gonna be right next to the entrance, in like a larger ship that has an interior, and people manage to board you, they can just take out the life support and force you into a fight. So these life supports should be closer to the crew of the ship, I would say. Or like somewhere in the middle. Like make it a point of interest that people really need to fight over for control, and not right next to a ramp, for example, where the hostiles can quickly just go in, take it out, and force you out.
The biggest thing we are aiming for is switching from your health pool of the bespoke ship to just moving that completely over to the physicalized component. So damaging the component is damaging your ship.
Oh, that's cool.
I think this is the part where the biggest change for the players happen, because there the gameplay of repair comes in, and then you can revitalize your ship. So you can actually use your formerly dead-in-the-water ship after exchanging or repairing the components.
That's great.
So we mentioned one of the new components,
so cool.
which is the life support generator. So let's talk about life support.
Is
the life support does all the tasks necessary to maintain the life support inside the ship.
So it's the temperature, it's the atmosphere composition.
Oh, this is huge. This means that you're now no longer safe without a helmet when you step inside your cargo bay, even when the ramp is open. Because right now, if your ramp is open, you can just walk right in, take your helmet off. You're completely fine, completely fine. But with this change, the atmosphere from the outside goes inside your ship as well. So if you're gonna be standing in your cargo bay without a helmet on, like Daymar, Wala, Lyria, or whatever, it's gonna get you killed now. It's gonna get you killed, which I like. This is great. This is amazing.
So it's the temperature, it's the atmosphere composition, it's the pressure inside the room. Your main responsibility is making sure that there's always enough life support resource produced to maintain a healthy atmosphere in the ship. So making sure that all the CO2 that you breathe out is actually converted into O2 again.
That's amazing. I love this so much.
If you vented a room, that the room is filled again.
That's so cool.
Your room is getting too hot,
so amazing.
It's cooled down again. So it's all about managing this resource inside the rooms. And
and then extinguishing fire by opening an elevator. Oh, that's gonna be so amazing. Like, you have this fire and you're like, okay, engineer, I need you to decompress the engine room, or like, yeah, you have like a fire at the engine room. There's an elevator next to that, like right with the hammerhead. It's like right next to the engines. You're gonna be like, all right, engineer, I need you to lower the elevator of the engine room to decompress and take out the fire. And that is amazing. Or like multiple rooms, like, engineer, I need you to open door 1, 2, and 3 leading up to the ramp. I need you to open the ramp so we can vent X room where the fire is at currently. That gives me FTL vibes. For those who haven't played FTL, that's also how you can. It's like a top-down turn-based strategy game, but it turns into an RTS when you get into combat kind of thing. It's basically like that, and that's amazing. You can just like click a couple buttons. You open doors to the outside, and you just vent the ship where the fire is, and it just extinguishes it. That's amazing. I love that.
As already mentioned in the previous episodes, its life support management is also a good way to counter fire.
Yes.
Another aspect the players have to counter or react to is misfires on components.
Misfires?
Misfires are something that is already in the game in some form. Thruster surges, seal generator failure, stuff like that. We're just expanding it a bit, and pretty much the idea is that, you know, items that are damaged, that are too hot, or that, for example, are very old and degraded, will start misfiring. In some cases, that will be that it will take some extra damage. In other cases, it will stop working for a while. Other times, they will work indefinitely until an engineer comes by and manages to do some repairs.
Can they also ignite
some of the
in your
worst
ship?
cases would be starting a fire, or in the case of
That's my
power
answer.
plants, engaging in a critical reactor failure and taking the ship with them.
There is a chance that if the power plant reaches 0 health, it will run into a critical failure, and that critical failure then will cause the entire ship to explode. It will give the player the time frame to...
You know there's gonna be bugs when this comes out. You know there's gonna be bugs where a power plant will suddenly just blow up as you're flying. You're just gonna be normally flying your ship, you're minding your own business, and it was 100% when you just checked, and then not even 5 minutes later you just go boom, ship gone, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck, did I hit another invisible asteroid? No, the power generator on the surface side apparently was 0%, and it didn't tell you in game for some reason.
To react to that, so either by removing the component and throwing it out of the door and preventing your ship to explode, or
you
even
can throw
countering
it at the door
by repairing the component and bringing it up.
Oh, that's cool.
Again. For the initial release, we have a limited amount of misfires, but we are preparing the system, or we did prepare the system to scale well for the future, so we can introduce multiple misfires, and that leads us to damage penetration.
Oh yeah,
so damage penetration is a simplified version of what we'll be getting eventually with a more physicalized system, but essentially what it means is that now certain types of weapons can penetrate through the hull of a ship.
Oh, that's so cool.
This is a function of the weapon itself, its penetration values, and also of the armor of the ship, which can be depleted over time.
But the question is, I don't think this is gonna happen yet because Maelstrom isn't in the game yet. So there is penetration, but I don't think there's gonna be real penetration. I think you won't be getting damaged inside the ship when you're being hit by a ballistic weapon, for example. Like if you're standing there in a cargo hold and you get hit by a ballistic, or the component next to you gets hit by a ballistic round, I don't think it's gonna go through the hull and actually hit you. I think for now it's just going to be components until Maelstrom is going to be in the game.
So if you use ballistics, you have a higher penetration, which allows you to cut through the armor more deeply and touch the components inside the ship directly. As opposed to this, you also have energy weapons, which will be more effective at melting down the armor.
The goal here is that you first need to bring down the armor health value to get to the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons. Then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship and not on the outside of the hull.
Obviously there's degrees to this. Larger ballistic weapons may have enough penetration against smaller ships that it will be able to penetrate directly.
I do actually see bullets come through. Now I don't know if that's going to be a visual glitch, or like a graphical glitch, or if that's actually gonna be a bullet going through the hull.
It's all of a game of choices, and it's gonna depend on your ships and your weapons.
So with damage penetration and misfires happening, that brings us to repair.
And this is gonna be crucial. This is gonna make vulture pilots, like the RMC stuff for canisters should only be able to be refilled by like a vulture pilot or something, instead of being bought once again from NPCs, just like everything else in the game. If they make it so that the canisters can only be refilled by vulture or reclaimer stations, and you cannot buy full canisters from NPCs, you have a start to an actual player economy, because the vulture pilots or reclaimer crew and pilots are going to be incredibly important to the universe, because they have the canisters that you need. You're going to have to buy them from them. I don't think CIG is going to go that route. I think you're just going to be able to buy full RMC canisters once again from NPCs and just store a bunch of them in your backpack. But it would be great if you could only get them from vulture or reclaimer pilots, so they actually, you know, have a meaningful role in the verse. Like you're gonna join a server, you have a big ship, you're gonna be asking on the server like, hey, is there anyone in a vulture or a reclaimer that has RMC canisters so I can repair my components? And they're gonna be like, yeah, I have like 2 of them and they cost like 30k each. And you're gonna be like, well, shit, I'm gonna have to pay it because I need it. That's what I would really want, but it's probably not gonna happen.
As your fight progresses and components take damage in your ship, it becomes the duty of some of your crew members to first investigate what are the issues caused by battle damage.
Okay. I like this.
Go there to physically replace the parts in your ship.
Or so you have your multi-tool, so you have the salvage and repair, and the repair part of it also affects now ship components, precisely like what you see in the Arena Commander mode. You will be able to repair items that were fully destroyed.
I don't know how I feel about that one. I feel like destroyed is destroyed. I feel like your components should not get to the point of where they are actually destroyed. If they're destroyed, they're dead. You should not be able to repair them. You should just be able to bring a spare. Or maybe repairing is okay, but only up to like 20% HP, like just to get you on your way to the next station, but not back to 100, because that would... No, I feel like repairing it back to 100% would kind of negate the whole having to replace components kind of thing. So I would say if it's been destroyed, it should only be able to be repairable to 20%, if even that, maybe 10% or 15%. Like just enough to get you to your next destination to actually replace the component. But that's my opinion.
Will not be able to repair the item to its fullest, so you can...
I should have waited. Not
repair an item that got fully destroyed to 100% health again. So to repair your ship components to the fullest, you actually have to bring them to the shop again and do the station repair.
I spoke too early. I spoke too early.
Think ahead and brought spare items with you, you can simply exchange them to pristine new ones. But with the caveat, it only works, just as a reminder, for size 1 and size 2 components. Size 3 and above cannot be exchanged using the tractor beam detach and attach mode. So now that we...
But then how are you able to replace Polaris parts? Because you're not going to be able to do that with your own crew. Like, for example, ships like the Reclaimer, the Polaris, the 890 Jump. You're not going to be able to repair those manually then. So, like, you need to bring them back to a shop to replace the components instead of doing it yourself. So you cannot really bring spare components for ships like that, which... I don't know, it feels a bit weird. Like, of course, you're gonna have multiple spare relays around for issues like that. But, well, maybe you wouldn't have a spare quantum drive or spare... what you call it? spare power plant, because if you're in like a nuclear submarine, you don't really have a spare nuclear reactor. But then again, if your first nuclear reactor goes kaboom, you probably won't be able to tell the tale about how you're going to need a second one.
Looked at what your responsibility.
Then again, they might have redundant reactors, but I don't know. I don't live on a nuclear submarine, so I don't know. But that is kind of the first thing that came into my mind.
Abilities are in the physical space running around in your ship. Let's take a look at what you do on the virtual part, which is power management and analysis of your ship on the engineering screen.
This is straight out of FTL.
So the first thing that you will see is the 3D view of your ship that highlights the location of all the ship components and how they are actually connected, where the relay positions are, what's the status of the relays are. You will see the holograms of each component.
As you can see, they have different colors. What they are representing is the overall state of the item. So an item that is very damaged, or it's on fire, or it's not getting enough power, will be in a critical state.
Nice.
Items that are less damaged, are receiving only partial resources, or are going through a misfire, may have moderate colors. And items that are otherwise fine will have the functional or blue colors.
Okay.
The biggest change that happened to the engineering UI screen is basically
This is straight out of FTL. Like, for the people that have played FTL, this should be exactly what you're used to. You have blocks of power pool, and you just click where you want to distribute your pool, and then at some point you're going to be like, well, you know, shit, I don't have enough power to power everything, so I'm going to have to drop it from, instead of here, you have to drop it to here and only have your shields, because you need more firepower or more
power management part of it. We moved away completely from slider control for every individual item. There is indicator now for fuel. This is not relevant for the initial release, but it will be relevant for the future. Next individual item. There is indicator now for fuel. This is not relevant for the initial release, but it will be relevant for the future. Next to it you see the power plant. The power plant segments gives you an idea of how many power segments you can distribute to the ship items.
And on the right of each of the power bars, you can generally see the temperature bar. If it goes into overheating, the item will stop both consuming or producing, and it will be completely inoperable until it cools down again. So that means that assigning power to your coolers in advance is probably a good idea if you are going into a fight.
All the items on your ship generate heat, so this is where you can see the amount of heat that each item has accumulated, and you can see the amount of coolant that you are producing, and whether or not you are also running a deficit. So what you want to do is put as much power as you can into the coolers until your items do not overheat, but do not assign more resources than necessary, because you are running a limited pool of resources.
The same applies to the life support generator.
I don't know if my organization is gonna watch this, but we need more engineers. We can't just rely on Amaranth on this. We need more engineers for this. Like, this is mind-boggling, and it's amazing. I love this. I love what I'm seeing.
So you have to make sure that you produce enough life support resource that the demand is fulfilled in your ship. If your demand isn't fulfilled, it will cause some failures.
There's also a notifications panel. Here the main warnings about the state of the ship will be displayed. If an item is damaged.
Oh, it also shows you when the notification happened, like 1 minute 40 seconds ago, 2 minutes ago. So you can actually like look back and be like, okay, what failed? When did it fail? When did we get warnings, and why has nobody fucking picked it up? Like, if you see like orange notifications popping up like 5 minutes ago, and then suddenly that component goes red, you're gonna be like, all right, who's my engineer, and why the fuck did you not see that? Why is it red? Why are we dead in the water?
I like that. I like that. It's misfiring. It will create a warning. You will be able to see it as a notification. Take a look at it, go to the item, or just remove it.
So you have an option that allows you to basically log the controls so that you...
One thing though, I need to go back to this real quick. I would say... Oh, okay, never mind. I didn't really look at this properly, and I was like, okay, what if you have two power plants? It's gonna say power plant warning. And you're gonna be like, well, which one? Or for this one example, it just says weapon warning. which weapon. It doesn't say which one it is or like where it's located. Quantum drive, you only have one. The radar, probably only have one. Controller, flight, probably have one. Shield generator, you probably have one or two or more. And then cooler left and right. So, okay, they do actually address that, just not for weapons, because I already see 4 weapons here, and I don't know which one misfired.
Warning, so you will be able to see it as a notification. Take a look at it, go to the item, or just remove it.
So you have an option that allows you to basically log the controls so that you or the pilot, which has access to the MFD, which shares some of the power management functionality, do not conflict with your controls. So by locking this, you are able to override the MFD settings to only have it being authoritative from the engineering station.
Okay, that's good.
The power assignment you have.
So the engineer can basically say, like, I'm gonna lock this screen because I need to do stuff and I don't want anyone interfering with whatever I'm doing. I need my time on this panel, and I need like, I don't need any of you interfering with what I'm doing right now. That's cool. That's clever. I like that.
Save it locally on your computer.
Also, very dangerous if your engineering panel is in a location that is accessible by pirates, because the pirates can just start locking that panel and take away control from the crew. So that is something that's why you need security around your panels or your ship. Speaking, if you need security, Black Element Interstellar Corporation, we carry your burdens.
Meaning that
I had to do
when
that.
you fly again with this ship, or even if it's not your ship but somebody else's ship, you can quickly apply your presets. This is very useful in the middle of combat. And you can quickly switch
preset.
to
You can
combat
say like
preset,
nav
for example, more
preset,
power
combat
to shields,
preset.
weapons, and thrusters.
Yo,
Or at the same time,
this
you
is
may
sick.
want to have some nap mode preset where you reduce the power to everything and just put it on the bare minimum, so there's no degradation or misfires related to power use.
So you can set a preset on your ship and then jump on somebody else's ship and load it up?
Indeed, your presets are stored locally.
Wait. I need to listen to that again from Jared.
Degradation or misfires related to power use.
So you can set
You can set a preset
on your
own ship,
and then jump on somebody
and then go onto someone else's ship
and load it up.
And load your presets. Feel about that one, because that seems like it's gonna open the door wide open for trolls, because you're gonna make a preset that just deactivates everything, and you're gonna run into someone's ship. You're gonna be like, fuck you, I'm gonna deactivate everything. I don't know, the presets are cool, but they should be like loaded for the ship itself and not loaded locally on your PC, in my opinion. So if you lose your ship, you have to remake that preset. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, like being able to use presets on other people's ships. It kind of feels like it's opening the door to a lot of trolling.
Indeed, your presets are stored locally, so as long as you have access to the screen and you're using the same ship, you can apply a preset. Obviously, if the components have changed, or the ship has a different loadout, the preset might not apply perfectly and you might need to adjust it, but it gives you a quick baseline on how your power is assigned.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
We hope that with these changes, players will have more varied opportunities to experience the game.
What ship is this? Is this the Hull C?
No. We'll encounter more situations where it feels relevant and enjoyable to have multi-crew gameplay in the ships, so that you do not think it's just about filling in the battle positions like the turrets and the pilot seats, but it's more involved gameplay to actually manage your ships and try to fix the ongoing situations that occur within them.
This is cool.
And we also hope that this makes larger vehicles, which have more interior space, both more troublesome but also more enjoyable to play with.
We are still working hard to get it done for all of you. There are ships that already have the functionality. There are still ships that we are working on. But overall, we are super excited to finally get it into the PU. So the Arena Command Experimental mode was already fun to observe what you can do with the entire system, and now with having the feedback from that, adjusting the gameplay a little from the feedback that we received from you, I am really looking forward to see what you
Same, I can't wait. Like, this is one of my most anticipated features of Star Citizen, aside from server meshing, of course. Like, this is gonna be game changing, especially for bigger ships, and I'm all for it. Like, anything that encourages multi-crewing a ship instead of soloing every fucking ship in the game, I'm all for it. Like, I don't want people soloing a Polaris, like, or an Idris. Like, you bought that ship for multiple people. Use it with multiple people. I'm so sick and tired of ships being able to be soloed by everyone, and I'm glad that this is changing, because if you're gonna be alone in the Polaris, you're not gonna make it, because you need to load your torpedoes manually, you need to do the engineering stuff manually, you need to replace relays. Yeah, try doing all that in combat. Try doing all that in combat on your own. It's not gonna work. I'm all for this.
So what did we learn this week?
Super excited.
Well, we learned that there's a sweet new interface for dedicated engineering terminals aboard spacecraft. That the first implementation of armor and damage penetration means that the ways that you kill and keep your spaceships alive will fundamentally change. And that when this arrives in the PU, life aboard spaceships will never be the same again.
I hope so.
That's it for this season of Inside Star Citizen, while everybody here turns their focus towards the upcoming CitizenCon, where we'll be showcasing the future of Star Citizen beyond Alpha 4.0.
Hey, beyond 4.0, huh? They're gonna be talking about the Nyx system? The Sandworm? Probably not the Sandworm, because the Sandworm is not in the Nyx system, but I for one am excited for the return of Lagski and Delamar, so I'm excited.
Yes, it's a show you're not gonna want to miss. So from the small team that makes every ISC, thank you so much for letting us stretch our proverbial wings this year. Thank you for continuing to let us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all back here after the big show. I can't believe we got to...
What?
And we'll see you all back here after the big show. I can't believe we got to...
That caught me by surprise. Like, is there an after scene? There is an after scene, okay.
See you all back here after the big show. I can't believe we got to...
Son of a bitch, man. Oh, it's the Benny's thing. Not this again. What the fuck are we watching, man? This was a good ISC. I really like what I saw, and yeah, I hope you did as well. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all the good stuff. And I'll see you everyone in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.